Okay, we'll start back with problem 22-1A on page 1065 of your textbook. Here we're going to calculate the direct labor rate variance and the direct labor time variance. Then we'll take the sum of those two to get our total direct labor cost variance. And I thought, just to keep this formatted the same way, let's cross-check it. What we did, we want to take our direct materials price variance, which is 4,790, and we want to add, actually, we want to subtract the 2170 because it's an unfavorable variance. Had they been both favorable, we'd add them together. If they've been both unfavorable, we'd add them together, but since they're different, we're going to take the difference. And that's 2170. And that's actually 4790 favorable minus 2170 unfavorable. And it works now this way and this way. That was a little cross-reference there. Okay, now our direct labor rate variance. Okay, we want to take the difference in the actual rate per hour and the standard rate per hour. Well, the actual wage rate or wage per hour was $21.40. The standard wage per hour was $21. We budgeted paying our employees $21 per hour. We ended up paying our employees, maybe because of some overtime, $21.40 per hour. So is that one going to be favorable or unfavorable? We expected to pay $21 per hour. We paid $21.40 per hour. That one is going to be unfavorable, right? We paid more than we expected. Favorable for the employees, I guess. Unfavorable for management. So we're going to take the higher number here to begin with, just like we did before. $21.40 minus $21. And we're going to multiply that by the actual hours. Actual hours for the week, 4,000. Okay, and it's unfavorable because the actual wage rate paid, $21.40 per hour, was over our budgeted amount or standard amount of $21 per hour. So that's going to be equal to 0.4, the difference in parentheses here, times 4,000. So that's 1,600, and of course that is a dollar amount. Okay. We might need a little bit more room over here. Okay, we'll take the difference in the actual direct labor hours worked, which was 4,000 hours minus or the standard hours. Well, let's come down here and figure it out. We could reference that with our little sign there. We'll do the same down here. We'll use that this time. Standard hours or I guess we could say standard direct labor hours. And you guys, I'm going to abbreviate up here so it gives me a little bit more room for direct labor. I'm going to put DL, and I'm sure you got that. You've seen it already in some earlier chapters. Alright, so, and then for per hour here, standard rate, I'm just going to put it like that. Gives myself a little more room. Okay, so 4,000 is the actual hours. The standard direct labor hours. And let's see how we're going to figure that out. It's 1/3 of an hour per faucet. So since it's 1/3 of an hour per faucet, we know the number of faucets produced during the week was 11,820. Times 1 divided by 3. 1/3 of an hour per faucet. So to get the number of standard number of direct labor hours, just multiply those out and we get 3,940. Hours. Okay. So our actual direct labor hours were 4,000. The standard number was 3,940 hours. So, is it going to be favorable or unfavorable, you guys? Well, the actual time spent was 4,000 hours. The budgeted or standard time for producing 11,820 faucets was only 3,940 hours. So we went over budget, right? We used more direct labor hours than we expected, so that's going to be unfavorable. And then here we're going to multiply by the standard rate per hour, which was $21 per hour. Okay. Alright, so now let's bring that over here. So we're going to say it's equal to, what's our difference here? 60 hours. It's equal to 60 times 21, or $1,260. Okay, both of these are unfavorable, so our total variance is going to be unfavorable. Now we'll just add the two together. We get $2,860, our unfavorable variance. That's our total direct labor cost variance. It was unfavorable here. Remember, if the two are the same, we'd add them together. If not, we would we'd subtract. You guys, one thing I wanted to point out, mainly on these, just go through your formulas. But one thing I wanted to point out, let's look back at direct materials. Okay, you got your direct materials price variance is favorable by almost $5,000. Well, what's that mean? It's caused by the purchasing department only paying $2.72 per pound for brass, when we budgeted or expected them to pay $2.80 per pound for brass. So this favorable variance looks like a great thing. We maybe want to go by purchasing and give them a pat on the back, right? But when we started using the brass in the manufacturing facility, We expected to only use 59,100 pounds, but we used 59,875 pounds. So it looks like there's a problem here in the production process. All right, we had an unfavorable variance based on the quantity of direct materials used was more than we expected. So maybe we feel like from looking at these variances at first glance, we need to go give a pat on the back to whoever's over purchasing, and we maybe need to call in the production manager and have a talk with them because we used more materials than we planned. So at first glance, that might be what you think. You guys, these things can be misleading if you're not careful. It's possible. Now, I don't know anything. Probably each of you watching this knows more about if you can buy higher or lower quality brass. I would assume that you could. I'm not sure. But let's assume that the reason the purchasing department was able to pay less per pound for the brass is because they bought a little bit lower quality materials. So maybe we got this favorable variance here because the purchasing department was under a lot of pressure to beat the standard. So they went out and bought direct materials that were not quite as good. But it caused their price variance to be favorable. Maybe they're being compensated in the purchasing department based on that price variance being favorable. But if they bought inferior direct materials, that could cause problems in the production process. It could cause more pounds to be used, and because more pounds of the low quality materials are being scrapped. So really here the problem could be that purchasing's buying low quality materials, causing scrap to be high, which throws off this direct materials quantity variance. So be careful with these. It could be misleading. At first glance here, it looks like purchasing's doing a great job, and the plant manager needs, we need to have a conversation with them because what they're using more materials and probably having more scrap than we want them to. But the problem could be they're just buying inferior materials here to make this variance favorable, and those inferior materials are what's causing scrap to be higher and thus usage of direct materials higher. Hope that makes sense. Our standard direct labor hours, let's reference that one again as well, just like we did here. Okay, you guys, after working that one, I don't think you'll have any problem with the homework problem. It's PR22-1B. Very similar problem, and I've got these formulas posted for you as well. If you have any questions, please be in touch. But again, this is one of the ones that will show up on your final. So be certain to practice it numerous times on paper until you feel comfortable working it without looking back at the exam. Thanks, and I hope you guys have a great day.